My name is Christian Ray, and I moved halfway across the country to build a blacksmithing forge from the ground up so that I could be part of the centuries-old tradition of making beautiful and lethal masterpieces out of metal. It hasn't been easy, but here we are. This is Ronin Blades. Hey, welcome back to Ronin Blades. Today we're continuing work on our short sword. We'll be doing the polishing process, and then we're moving on to handle construction. Let's get started. The polishing process is a lot like the grinding and profiling process, except it uses a lot more belts. I go over the same edges that I've already ground in the profiling process with higher grits. The 36 grit belt I've been using creates these giant scratches on the metal. Using the higher grit belts makes these scratches smaller. Using a high enough grit makes the scratches go away entirely, and you're left with a completely smooth piece. It is then that the smooth piece can be polished to a mirror finish. We're going to go all the way up to 800 grit. It's going to give us an excellent mirror finish, so my girlfriend could do her makeup in it. If I had one. I change the belts frequently in order to get that mirror finish. It can be tedious, but the end result speaks for itself. And that is especially apparent when you see how each grit affects the steel. And that completes the polishing process. We went all the way up to 800 grit, so it is nice and smooth. I can see my reflection in it. And we are done with grinding. It's time to move on to our handle construction. Now I've decided I'm going to go with a Quillian block crossguard and a threaded tang. This means I have to make a Quillian block crossguard, a handle, and a threaded pommel. That's a lot of pieces. We'd better get started. I decide to use ebony wood, which is exceptionally strong and polishes to a beautiful shine. It's a little tough to drill, but that means it'll stick to our tang perfectly. So I got my handle material drilled. The only issue is, it's a little small, and I did that on purpose, because round drill bits can only drill round holes. The tang on our sword is square. I did that on purpose too. A round hole on a round peg will spin, and you don't want your handle to spin. A square hole on a square peg won't spin. So a square hole is essential. I just got to turn our round hole square. That's where my broach tool comes in. It is going to take a while though. But thanks to the powers of movie magic, I can move on to the next stage of the process while doing this. Moving on to our handguard. I found this piece of an old tire iron that will make for a good handguard once we cut this piece off. Let's get to it. Our tire iron cut, I can begin the forging process. I start by making the center of the material flat, as that's what's going to go up against the handle material and the sheath once it's made. It's important that this part of the piece is flat to prevent any gaps and shifting between the handle and sheath. Once the center is flattened, I can move on to the quillions, which are upswept sides of the handguard that go up toward the blade. Quillions make it easy to catch your opponent's blade while fighting. Even though our sword won't be used for fighting, I'm going to make it look like it can. I give the end of each quillion a nice leaf shape before moving on to drawing out the center of each quillion. A narrow quillion will allow it to bend more easily, giving it more of an upswept, curled look. I'm going for a mix of form and function with our quillions. They'll be effective, and they're going to look great. After it is drawn out, I hit the leaf shape with a peen, giving it a textured finish to make it look more organic. Then it's off to the vise for a half twist on each side, and onto the horn of the anvil for the essential curling. I curl each quillion in two directions, the main curl going up, and then the end of each one gets curled the other way. This kind of quillion is the same as a traditional Japanese sai. It allows for a cool aesthetic and ease of grabbing the enemy's weapon. And it all comes together in a finished quillion block. And that is it for the day. Next time, we get our pommel made, we get our handguard cleaned up, and we put it all together. See you then. Ha! The fun one. Cut this part off, we can get to work. Dang.